Welcome back to Check It Out, the official podcast of the St. Tammany Parish Library. I'm James. I'm here with Jackie and Ava. And today's episode is our first book club episode. We're going to be discussing The Art of Hearing Heartbeats by Jan-Philipp Sendker. But first, we're going to talk a little bit about what's going on at the library. So what do we got, guys?
Yeah, so I wanted to highlight there is a teen event upcoming. It is ekphrastic poetry. So it's going to be with the New Orleans Center of Creative Arts, otherwise known as NOCA. So it's going to be really exciting. It's going to be Thursday, June 18th at the Covington branch. And ekphrastic poetry, if y'all don't know, is basically where a writer describes a visual work of art. So you'd just be writing about a painting that, speaks to you, or a sculpture, something along those lines, and you're going to be learning from the real pros. So it's going to be pretty exciting. So make sure to come out, teen patrons.
I'm glad you had that event. I didn't know how to pronounce that word.
I practiced a lot.
James, were you going to talk about a kids program coming up?
Yeah, so at the Abita Springs Town Hall, we have a special guest speaker. The event is called Good Vibrations, the Science Behind Making Music. And Rick Kelly is going to be there discussing musical instruments and their history. The kids are going to get to play instruments, I think percussion instruments together, so do a little drum circle. And that's going to be at 10:30 a.m. to 11:30. There is no registration needed, so just come drop in to the Abita Springs Town Hall.
Going on to the adults, because, they like to have fun too this summer. One of the things coming up is trivia night at the Slidell Branch. That's on Robert Boulevard. And it is on June 16th from 6 to 7:30 p.m. There is registration needed. And like all these events, you can register there as well as find out about the event at sttamanylibrary.org/events. The amount of events that we have over summer reading is astounding. I think in 1 week, sometimes we have 100 events. It's crazy.
It's basically nonstop.
Yeah, until summer reading ends. And so let's do a little reminder about that if you have not signed up for summer reading, you still have time all the way up until July 31st. So head on over to our website at sttamanylibrary.org/summer reading or visit one of your local branches.
I also want to give a little shout out to our Check Out Louisiana State Parks and Museum Passes program that we do. I made use of that this past weekend and went to NOMA in New Orleans, the New Orleans Museum of Art, for free with a pass from the library. So make sure to check that out on our website as well. We've got tons of museums and state parks that you can get passes to go to. All you need is a library card. So we're about to get into the book club, and we've got a couple guests from Madisonville. But in the book, one of the characters has remarkable hearing. They can hear a spider making its nest and hear a bird in an egg. If you could have one of your senses heightened to that degree, what would it be?
You should go first.
Jackie.
All right, well, I'll say my sense of smell is already heightened normally, because I'm the first one that knows, they're printing something upstairs from the printer, and I'm like, what's that smell? Something's burning. But no, if I was to pick something, I would say vision, because I'm blind as a bat. That would be nice to actually see.
That is a good one. I don't know. That's kind of hard. So a sense that I already have, that would just be like heightened?
Yeah, one of your, I would say 6 senses, but technically there's
I
like
would do
30
taste, because I'm thinking of like that scene in Ratatouille when he eats the grape and the cheese or the strawberry.
Yeah.
And like it's just like a symphony. I think taste would be pretty cool.
Could be bad though. Like what if?
Well, but if something's like bad or poison, then I could like make sure to know before everyone else
But
gets
could you
poisoned.
eat a mediocre meal if you're...
Probably not.
Well, then it wouldn't be mediocre, because she would taste so much into it.
Yeah, it would taste like all
you
the
would taste
notes.
all the
everything that
dyes and the chemicals.
Yeah. Okay, well, I mean, when you say it like that, what about you, James?
Sight would be good. I do have pretty bad vision, but I think hearing seems like it could be useful. Like you could eavesdrop on people, or you could...
But think about like upstairs neighbor, like you could hear their footsteps and...
Yeah, you would have to be able to learn to tune things out for sure, which he does in the book. Yeah, I think I'd go hearing.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, stay tuned to hear more about the book with Susan and Julie from Madisonville as we check it out. Welcome to the first book club episode of Check It Out. Today we're discussing The Art of Hearing Heartbeats by Jan-Philipp Sendker. The novel follows Julia, a young woman whose father mysteriously disappears, leaving behind evidence of a hidden past and a decades-old love story in Burma. I'm joined today by Susan, manager of our Madisonville branch and host of their book club, as well as Julie, a member of that book club. Their group actually met last night to discuss this same book. So we're going to hear how that conversation went and what some of the other readers thought. But first, I need to announce that for next month's book club episode, we're going to be discussing Absolution by Alice McDermott. Set in Saigon in 1963, it follows two American women navigating friendship, privilege, charity, and moral responsibility as the United States becomes increasingly involved in Vietnam. Remember that if you'd like to participate, you can submit your thoughts or questions at sttamanylibrary.org/podcast, and we might include them in the episode. Also, the South Slidell Branch is going to be discussing that book for their book club on July 9th, if you'd rather talk about it in person. So check out a copy with the library and read along with us. Lastly, a quick spoiler warning. We're going to be discussing the entire plot of The Art of Hearing Heartbeats today, including the ending. So if you haven't finished it yet, this is your chance to pause, go read it, and come back when you're ready. So yeah, let's get into it. Before we get into all the details, what was each of your overall reaction to the book?
It was lovely.
Mm-hmm.
I went into it thinking this was going to be a story about this very successful, intelligent lawyer who has found a love letter that her father had written, and now she is in pursuit of finding out who this woman was in Burma and wants to. So I thought it was going to be about her mainly, but then it turns out that it's this amazing, lyrical, magical, soulful series of stories told by Yuba, who she meets when she gets there. Anyway, our book club is lovely. When we first sit down, we rate the book 1 to 5. And
Yeah,
5
1
being the best.
5 being the best.
Okay.
1, you're never going to look at this book
Yeah,
again.
and that sometimes.
Which has happened
It absolutely
occasionally,
has happened.
unfortunately. But those can lead to interesting discussions too.
Right off the bat. And most
Yeah.
people, I think most people gave it a 4.5, a 4.5, 4.5.
Wow.
We were mostly positive for this one.
Yeah.
There were a couple,
Yeah.
like a couple issues brought up with it, which I think are fair. Like, would be good to discuss later as well.
Yeah. That's what makes it interesting.
Yeah.
You don't want everybody to say, oh, it was great. Then there's nothing to say.
Right.
We like a little controversy in there, giving other people a chance to express their opinions, good or bad.
Yeah, and I'd say I had a pretty similar opinion to you. I went into it pretty blind. This one was, I believe, recommended by one of our other members, Eileen.
Yes.
That's how we typically get our books around the end of the year. We all recommend and vote on some. But I also felt very much that this would be like Julia's story.
Right.
That's what I thought.
I knew the missing father aspect. I knew we were going to Burma, now Myanmar, but I wasn't really sure what to expect. Like, I knew she was in around the 90s because the book was written in like just 2002. But I wasn't expecting to go all the way back to like the 40s and 50s
Yeah,
and that kind of.
I got so entrenched in the storytelling that I completely forgot about Julia.
Yeah.
And then suddenly she would appear
And
again. Like, oh, yeah.
Suddenly, here's this cynical
Wait,
New
we're
York
supposed
lawyer.
to fight this very. She's in Manhattan, leaves her law practice, and she's very methodical. She lines everything up. She gets there, and I want to know who my father is. Where is he? What happened? And cut and dry.
Yeah, very analytical compared to the
extremely
fantastical,
Yes.
superstitious stuff
Yeah.
she encounters in
Because
Burma.
Yeah, I'd say like the retellings do become very, very fairy tale like.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Which
and she's
that's some foreshadowing as well. That's
Yeah.
pretty interesting. And also the very very like fate happenstance feel to it that it doesn't seem like she even planned to meet Uba. She didn't know who he was. She just shows up at this random tea shop, and there he is.
And he's been waiting for her for 4 years
Right.
to tell her the story about her father. And he's just this pitiful little old man. And, he's just slow and methodical. And she's time is money. Come on,
Right.
where's my father?
Yeah, and she's like, at first, like, this guy's a charlatan. I'm not going to come back and see him.
Yeah.
It's like, why would I do that?
Yeah.
But then, like,
But wow.
it's kind of that, not quite magical realism, but that very,
I know, the
very
tinge
like,
of it, but-
a very like tinge of like that mysticism or like spiritualism.
very spiritual.
Yeah.
Didn't see that coming. Not at all. And it just made me feel so calm and wanting to learn more and more and more about Eastern philosophy versus Western philosophy and how people approached love and death and tragedy and poverty, all of the things that make it such an interesting, thought-provoking book.
And the difference in values, like the way that, when he was caring for his ailing mother for half his life, that was like a fulfilling life to him. And they just could not really understand one another. Like
That was.
We talked about this
last night because
well.
I had passed judgment immediately, and then I had to admonish myself for being so judgmental. That Julia's like, "What do you mean? You could have gone to university and you could have become a I don't know what.
Yeah.
It was like physicist
or something.
Like that.
Yeah, you had all this, almost like you squandered your education, and you could have had a career, and you could have had an apartment in London and Manhattan, and all of these things. And what did you stayed home and took care of your mother for 30 years? And I thought, oh my God, what a slacker this guy is. And then you start thinking about it. Women have always sacrificed things to take care of their children. Why not expect, if it's possible, that a child would want to take care of the parent?
Yeah.
And he didn't even quite. This is how we do it here. This is not even really expected. You want to.
Yeah.
This is our culture. This is.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
He's just very zen.
Yeah.
Yeah, very much kind of mirroring like his mother's, well, spoiler alert, Mimi's family when she was growing up, because they carried her to market. They made sure she had a way to make a living later on in life.
Yeah.
Without ever thinking about it as a burden. This is just what we do. This is how life is.
And they're happy.
Yeah.
They're not burdened by this at all. They don't feel sorry for themselves. They're not angry. They just accept what life throws their way, and they make the best of it. And it's a peaceful.
Yeah. I mean,
community.
even piecing together those old books like he's doing,
Oh,
letter
my
by
God,
letter,
right?
the moth-eaten holes or whatever.
Isn't that fascinating?
And he's done that for years, and then that's fulfilling to him. And he's got a beehive just in his house.
Beehive. And she's like, well, what did you do? Do you sell the honey? He was like,
He's like,
what?
Why would I
That's
take
not
that?
my honey.
What? Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just so many things like that.
Such a different worldview.
Just- yeah.
So, what did you all rate it out of 5?
I gave it a 4.5.
I'm between a 4 and a 4.5. I think there are some things maybe I would have wanted a little bit more explanation on.
Yeah, for sure.
Or maybe I'm still a little bit annoyed at Teen Ween.
Right. For sure.
Because it's, well, if we want to talk about him, we can now.
Yeah.
Because I feel like you want, with so many of the stories being from his perspective, you want to take his side. You want to feel like, oh, this makes sense, how you did things. And even the explanation that Uba gives of like why he didn't just come back after he finished school was much along the way of like he would have still been beholden to Usa. That the whole notion of filial piety, where like with Uba's like situation with Mimi, we see it as a very beautiful thing. With Teen Ween and Usopp, it becomes like a very toxic relationship.
Yeah.
Because he was really just out for his own benefit.
Oh, such a horrible person. Usopp was just, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And he kept siding with
Just-
the wrong people over and over, which
Yeah.
feels a little bit karmic.
It did. That certainly did.
How did you feel similarly about Teen Ween? Like the way he abandoned sort of
I was angry that
his lover and then also his family.
Yeah,
and,
yeah. I mean, Julia really loved him. I mean,
Yeah.
she felt, totally abandoned. And how could you just up and like act as though you're going to work and then no one here? But he didn't cover his tracks at all.
Right.
He checked into the hotels, Bangkok and whatever, and did his thing. He traveled worldwide with his business. He could have snuck away every now and then, but I
Right,
think,
yeah.
so like, couldn't you just have gotten it out of your system and then gone back to your American
Yeah,
family?
would that have felt more like a betrayal or cheating though? If
Right.
he was
That
like,
would.
If he was juggling both.
Yeah.
and he wouldn't have gone back to America once he landed
No.
back with
Mimi.
Mimi.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no way he
Yeah.
would have
And
left her.
It's also like, is it a kindness or is it like cruelty that he leaves right after her graduation? Like he
Yeah.
waits for this giant milestone and then she's always going to remember it as like the day before he left.
Right. And was he just counting down the
No,
days
that's-
until
That's what we wondered
Yeah.
about. Like what that particular day. Well, I guess he could hear Mimi's heartbeat failing that particular
Yeah,
day.
that
What made him on
definitely-
that particular day go before it was.
I didn't think did they say that in the book that he like
I maybe it was implied. Maybe I imagined it.
I can't remember exactly, but I know they do have the whole very, like very meaningful bond. And as soon as, he's back, they both die, which
Like right away.
right, like right away, not even like
Yeah.
a week later or
Well,
something, just the very night.
Somewhere in the beginning, maybe I marked it. I don't know. There's something said about him being able to stop his heartbeat when he wanted to.
Oh yeah, and he almost
Oh,
does
so
it at
he
that
that.
at one point when he was so upset at being at his uncle's place. that
Yes, he could like self-will
Yeah.
himself.
Oh yeah, didn't
Yeah,
Death
to
talk to
Death.
him or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Death appeared.
Oh,
to
that was an interesting. I completely forgot about that part.
Yeah. So he had to go because it was almost too late, and he
Yeah.
just abandoned, that family. But I don't know. But then, he stayed, and he was a very hard worker. He built this great law practice, and he bought her studio apartment in Manhattan. She obviously got a great education. I mean, the wife lived, her high society life. So he went through the motions of being the husband and the father that he learned you were supposed to be when you lived in America. He stayed a very, very long time and did the best that he was capable of doing. But I think at some point it's like, I'm done. I've done everything. I've done everything I need to do here, and I have to go back.
Yeah, and his relationship with Julia's mother,
Ugh.
like, which leaves her so bitter, but you wonder, it's like,
Right.
there's a point, I think I marked it. It's just like a simple question when Julia's thinking, it's like, was he to blame for having succumbed to my mother's coaxing, or was she in the wrong for wanting something from him that he could never give her? And it's that idea. It's like, in the end, he did give in. Yeah, I hear that tone of voice.
Yeah, right.
But it is like, it's very much that thing. Did he give in because he did have feelings for her? Did he give in because, like, if he was already married Usaw could not like arrange a marriage for him in Burma,
Yeah.
because that's like Uba's like reason why he couldn't return is because he would have become like Usaw's partner. He would have become, been in an arranged marriage. Like so many things that Usaw would have wanted for him, or for himself, really.
Yeah, we didn't get a lot of answers about his life in America, which actually we didn't have too many people send in questions or thoughts because, we just started this thing. But we did have one person, Charlotte, wrote that she was hoping to hear more about his life in America. And yeah, which makes sense because we're hearing the entire story from his son who doesn't necessarily know his life in America. And we did get some flashbacks from Julia, but yeah.
I think he did love his family. Maybe he, in his own way, he loved his wife and he loved his children. Uba saying, you are his daughter, why do you doubt his love? And she says, he left us. And Uba says, does one thing exclude the other? And she says, yes. And he says, why? Love has so many different faces that our imagination is not prepared to see them all. We only see what we know,
Yeah.
what we have the capabilities for.
And they did kind of talk about that earlier when his uncle is so surprised that he's still so madly in love with Mimi after a year of writing letters with nothing in response. It just doesn't compute to him, and Mimi's doing the same thing.
Yeah.
So I guess it didn't matter to them whether they were physically with one another, but I guess it did in the end. I don't know.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting.
It is interesting. Like at the end, he did win it.
Because she had written in one of the letters that, unfortunately he never received, that she did want to grow old with him. Like grow old and die with him.
Die
pretty
together
much,
with him,
which did end up happening, not quite in the way I think any of them would have wanted.
Right.
I guess talking about his life in New York, though, that was interesting too. Because like in his interactions with his family, he always like felt distant. Or am I thinking of his relationship with the wife? Like he always felt distant.
I don't think he felt part of New York. I don't think he felt he was ever going to be, he was never going to leave his Eastern philosophies.
Right.
He was always going to maintain that. Western, culture is just shockingly different, and he had everything he needed. He did what he was supposed to do. He was never going to become close to his wife or anyone because that symbiotic relationship that he had with Mimi, that was it. That's what he needed. And he would go off to Staten Island or he would go do all these
touristy places where like everyone else there was a stranger to New York as well.
Yeah.
The whole thing with him hearing her heartbeat, I wonder what his wife's heartbeat sounded like to him. Like,
I don't think he ever heard that heartbeat.
Yeah.
But what about Julia's heartbeat? And that was his daughter. You would wonder. And he really loved her. I mean, he would tell her those stories that the wife didn't like because they didn't have a happy ending, but Julia loved him.
And that's when I wrote down
the crocodile.
I wrote down in my notes
the crocodile, whatever.
Yeah, the prince, the princess, and the crocodile, which ends up being like very foreshadowing of his own death.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I thought it was interesting because like the wife's whole problem with them, like why she would get so upset about them, and it's like, oh well, these don't have any moral or any moral lessons. These don't have like happy endings. It's like, what is this depressing fairy tale?
Did he question whether it was a happy ending or not, Tinwin? Didn't he? There's some discussion about that story, and when the prince and the princess die, and their funeral pyres and the smoke comes up and kind of intertwines, and all the animals sing, and
like
I think in his Eastern philosophical mind, that is because death is so much a part of life. It's just they have these difficult lives and poverty, and people are dying all the time, and it's just you accept it, and to him that they got to go into an everlasting. I don't know.
And like he didn't even start out that way. Like before he was at the temple and like taking the lessons from Ume, like it took him a while to get those down too. And the whole
because having a monk as his mentor, and poor thing left on a stump by his mother.
Yeah, wow.
What?
We never hear about the mom again, do we?
No, and that is interesting because I've wondered about. You never hear another word.
Which I mean,
she got.
Yeah.
No, but we
talked about the superstitions and meeting with astrologers and all that. Just what we think is just craziness, but they really took it to heart. I mean,
that was one of the discussions from last night, like what we think about more like the superstitions versus like the values of, like the Buddhist teachings that Teen Ween is learning, and that kind of more Eastern mindset versus Western. But how, like, it really impacts them in different ways. They interact with it in very different ways. Where his mother is so, like, anxious or paranoid almost because of what happens, with her brother. That it's like she carries that her entire life. And when the fortune teller just tells her that one part that it's like he's going to have great sorrow in his life, whereas she's seeing this great calamity. It's kind of the confirmation of what she was already expecting.
And then she's relieved when she finally finds out her husband's dead. She's almost relieved because that's the calamity.
There it is.
There it is. That was happening. This is what I told you was happening. Now I can leave. I can leave this child who is going to ruin my life. This pathetic child.
Right.
Yeah, but it's I can't remember who was saying it. Like that. Like in the fortune teller's thoughts, we were told that it's like, but he also has this great capacity and this great like gift of love. But he's like, I can't tell her that now. Like,
right, yeah.
and then he never does. We never hear from that again, which is like.
I wonder how Uba found that out.
That is the question. I will say that is one of the main complaints we had last night.
Certain pieces of information that he...
pieces of information, feelings. And it's like, how would you know what all these people were feeling inside their hearts? Like, because Teen Ween wouldn't have known that. Teen Ween wouldn't have known about the fortune teller because his father and his mother were already gone.
True, yeah. Unless they tracked them down just to, no.
So it's very interesting, but because I know one of our members was very much like any kind of recounting or retelling like that kind of pulls her out of the story.
Yeah, she loses the connection.
It's like, because you wouldn't know this. How do you, like, where's all this information coming from? And also, how long was he telling you this story? Because we've been here for days and you're exhausted. How long were you in that tea room?
That tea room. I mean, you couldn't have gone through all of those intricate details in just that way. So that's why I just have to wonder if maybe Teen Ween learned things along the way. If his child was his mother, or the town knew about things. I don't know. There's got to be some kind of backstory that he knew about and that he interwove into these long details.
Well, it did seem like the town kind of all knew that story too, and so
because they celebrated now.
They all showed up
15th of the month
funeral,
and
it became a holiday. So I guess it could have grown into a little local legend, and all those details could have been filled in by whoever.
Small town. There's no TV. They all sit around and tell stories, and then the stories just take on a life of their own. And there's multiple layers of questions of but you just give into the book. You just like I'm just going to go with the flow and just enjoy the escape. It was just it was a great
fantasy of it, kind of.
Very suspense of disbelief,
right?
Because I think it was Vince that was like, I'm just not here for all like the like kind of magical.
Yeah, the one man in our in our group is like, I'm not going for this.
Yeah, because the art of hearing itself, because it's like you're not hearing like
A spider's
or a
breath
baby bird inside
In an
its
egg.
shell. You just,
I think that was just too much. That was a step too far.
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, but
Which I get. You do have to just.
I'm just
have
gonna go
to
with it.
take it. You just have to.
I'm gonna go.
I think it's easier if it was like an actual fantasy novel. You kind of give into the lore of that world.
Well, you're right. You're right, but
Whereas this-
when you jump into
yeah.
it thinking this is a woman in search of her missing father, and that's a real thing. You're like, okay,
like
that's
we're in-
what
yeah.
now? Wait, what? What? All this magical, mystical.
Yeah. I think in the context of the book, it's definitely, they're trying to tell us this stuff really happened. He had these supernatural abilities and whatnot. But if you wanted to, to help suspend your disbelief, I guess, it could be an unreliable narrator thing where Uba is kind of making the story a little more fantastical, and the townspeople as well. Mm-hmm. Building up the legend of this. Mm-hmm. It could just be a blind kid who went and got his eyes fixed, and then everyone just fills in all these blanks with little beautiful fantasy things.
Yeah.
But I feel like they're trying to tell us that stuff really happened. I mean,
It's interesting. Yeah, and then like his whole relationship with Mimi being his eyes as well.
yeah.
And him being her legs. It's a very poetic relationship.
Very yes. Just true love. I mean, they overcome fear. What's the worst thing? What is the only way to overcome fear? Is through love, and they had it. Nobody else felt that way. None of the other characters had ever had that sort of experience with love, and I think they love to know about that love that could only be because of that symbiotic relationship. And she was his eyes, and he her feet, because she had the club feet or she was crippled or whatever, and they spent years just depending on each other as one person. So that love transcends time and space and distance and all the bad things. So if you just think of it as like a fairy tale.
Yeah, and it's a nice metaphor for
Yeah.
like dependence in a relationship, and and self-sufficiency, I guess. Were there any interesting things that came up at last night's meeting that y'all hadn't thought about before in the book? I mean, I'm sure there were lots of things.
We had a lot to talk about. We ran over.
Yeah, surprisingly.
Which is-
Sometimes when we're all on the same page, like the meeting's over in half an
hour. We're like, okay, well, now what are we going to talk about?
It's like, oh, well, we agree on everything.
Right.
This
So
is a great book.
Yeah,
But we did have some.
I'm pretty passionate about their views on the book, and everybody had something
Different they
pulled out of it. Yeah, I guess it's the youngest. I don't know how old she is. She looks like she's still in college. Talked about she did not like stories within stories because no one could be that detailed about thinking what people were thinking. And I had not ever thought about that. So I was glad that she spoke up and gave us a point of view of.
Yeah, another member was like, oh, well, I really enjoyed this. This was like, sitting at my grandparents' house and having them like tell all their stories.
Yes.
Because you do embellish when you retell. You gotta make it a good story.
Yeah.
So it's like, what aspect is truth and what is embellishment, like whether you realize it or not.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people had strong opinions about the mother leaving because she is this character we only see like this brief picture of. Mm-hmm. But then like, do we empathize with her as well with all the trauma she went through early in her life, or is that just like still doesn't excuse anything that she does later on?
Yeah, that's a hard question.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's
I
tricky.
mean,
Yeah.
it's definitely selfish because if you were told like that your child is going to cause, I don't know, some kind of misfortune or there's misfortune in the future for you all, then like you abandoning him is just like you said, like
Yeah.
a self-fulfilling
Yeah.
prophecy. So like she's doing the misfortune anyway. So just
And I guess originally they thought they were going to have a lot more children. Like this one was born on this day and the Saturday or whatever in December, and nothing good was going to come of that. But then they thought they would
Yeah.
have
yeah.
more kids, and then they didn't.
Right,
And then
right.
he
The father
gets bonked in the head
yeah.
with the golf ball, and
Yeah, that
Yeah, what a
was
way to
that
go.
was so. that was, like
now he's dead. Okay, that's good.
Such-
now
such
I
a
can
way
leave
to
my kid and go.
Oh my goodness.
You saw the way he died was kind of fantastical, if that's the word. Wasn't there like a snake? Wait, what am I thinking of? How did he die? Wasn't there a snake and a bed? Or
I can't remember. That sounds familiar, but I can't remember how he died.
or was it his wife had died? I don't know. Yep, you'll have to cut this out. I have to research the book.
I know the father. He was working on this golf course for all these British
That's
British
true.
officers and everything. I guess basically as like a caddy type thing. But then he dies by getting hit in the head by a golf ball.
Yeah.
And I remember, them talking about going to inform the mother. It's like they're not sorry. They're just telling her, it's like, hey, this happened,
Yeah.
and that's it. There's,
And
like,
she
nothing
was like,
they
I
do.
already know. Like as soon as she saw them,
She
was
knew,
like,
yeah.
I already know. You don't have to tell me.
yeah.
But-
So it's like, what does she do after this? Does she go on and start another family? Because it doesn't seem like she was that old.
Yeah.
So it's like, what does she do after this? We never really get to know that. So there's like little pieces left unfinished.
Right.
But that's life.
Do you consider the book a tragedy? Would you say? Kind of a romantic tragedy or romance or?
I don't know. It's hard to classify this book.
I mean, there is romance and there is tragedy. I don't know if I would necessarily classify it as either of those.
Yeah.
Lots of tragic elements, but I wouldn't say, it's...
But the ending's also kind of beautiful in a way. I mean, tragedies can be beautiful.
Yeah, it does feel very much like written similar to like a fairy tale, like how it wraps up with that. I don't know. That's an interesting question. Because I feel like in the introduction, they paint it more as, like in the little blurbs, they paint it more as like discovering this epic romance. But that's only like a small part of it.
Yeah.
Discovering because it's discovering his whole life. And then like the idea, it's like, how did he keep this hidden for all of these
Didn't tell
years?
his family anything about him being blind as a child.
Right. That's
Yeah, it's like,
strange.
That's a lot.
and how do you marry someone when they're like, I won't tell you the first 20 years of
That's
my
crazy.
life?
Yeah. That's
That was something that someone brought up at book club last night, was thinking about the mother. And it's like, oh, well, why did she marry him? And it's like, oh, well, when she got married, this is the 50s.
Right.
This is what you do.
Yes.
And he's, she's this, social person, and he's this like very successful lawyer. Good looking lawyer, yeah.
Well dressed, confident, obviously very intelligent. What a catch. She's looking for a husband. He walks in the door. She's like, this is going to work. And she sets out to, I'm sure, be the great housewife of the 50s and, do all the things that housewives did. You have parties and you have children. And he was distant. He never became the husband. And she was determined that she was going to, make him love her. And then she suffered from depression. She never got what she was looking for.
No.
And you know, the children didn't know what was going on, but she would be like in her room for days, you know, which Julia later realized was, you know, she was suffering from depression. Empty, you know, kind of a sad, empty life. But he, I don't know, they go through the motions, I guess. But, I mean, Julia just breaks down when she's learning all of the, you know, what he went through. And then she really begins to like Mimi.
Yeah.
Becomes, you know, a lovable, you know, tragic, but important, such an important part of her father's life. How could she say disparaging things about, you know, the other woman? This poor woman's crippled and she rolls up cigars
Right.
all day and didn't ever lose her love.
And I think it's around that time, like Julia says something or thinks something very interesting, that it's like listening to Teen Ween stories, like this is the first time I feel like I've actually thought about or like really known my father.
Exactly. Exactly.
And then when she thinks back on, you know, like noticing the depression in her mother and some of her mother's, you know, like anxiety or very like strict perfectionism for, you know, everyone around them. Like that's her reaction, like understanding both of her parents more, and the idea of like understanding your family or like especially your parents as like people before you existed.
Right. Nobody really wants to know who their parents were before you got here. We don't need to know all that stuff. And then it just helps her, you know, to get to, I think, know herself.
Yeah. And I feel like that's something like throughout the book until the end, she doesn't know that he's passed. But I feel like that is something that comes up a lot. Like after you lose a parent,
Yeah.
you begin thinking more about like their whole life, not just when you knew them. And finding things like letters and photographs, those kinds of things. It brings up some insights, some answers, but it also brings up like a lot of questions that sometimes you just will never get answers to.
Yeah.
So having, you know, her having that story, you know, is a beautiful thing.
I mean, she loved him before. I think she loves him even more now that she's known, that she got to know what he's been through. And she can forgive him for what he did, you know, because now that she knows, you know.
Yeah. Do you think she got all the answers she needed?
She's a lawyer. She has an analytical mind. She has many, many, many more questions.
Yeah.
But when at the very end, he you know, she looks at Ubai and
she now realizes is her
it's
brother.
I mean, her half brother. Yeah. What a, you know. And he looked, you know, so they're like smiling at each other, and he just, you know, that's the end of the story. Just like, you know, so, oh yeah, she'll have a lot more questions. And this author has written, we learned last night at book club that there are 2 sequels. There's like a trilogy.
Wait, really?
Yeah, it became a trilogy. We were looking it up. This is the first book, I believe. Yeah, it was written around 2002. The second book wasn't written till like 2014.
Wow.
So that's why I think we didn't realize it at first.
No.
Because I don't think Eileen didn't realize it because she read it so much earlier before it existed.
Well, this is Eileen's book, because I had turned in my library book, and Eileen thankfully brought hers. And
so we get all her notes as well.
Yeah, her notes, my notes. Look at this. Look at this. Yeah, A Well-Tempered Heart. So I can't wait to take this home and get a sneak preview into the next book. So these are pages from the next.
Is it the same characters or like is it following the same?
believe-
It's Julia. 10 years have passed since Julia Wynne came back from Burma. her father's native country, and she's a successful Manhattan lawyer,
Wow.
blah, 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 blah.
So I guess we do get maybe some answers that were.
Yeah. Julia's story is that of a Burmese woman named Nunu, who finds her world turned upside down when Burma goes into war and calls on her 2 young sons to be child soldiers. I don't know. It's a whole different story, but Julia
She's
looks like
like
she's
the
going to be
anchor
on
of
the
it.
she's going to be on the
Interesting.
case here, and I'm looking forward to.
Yeah. And then the third one came out, well, I was about to say recently, semi-recently in 2021,
Which,
5 years ago now. But
Yeah.
so maybe like I'm hoping we get more of Julia's story in those.
Yeah, I do want to know more about Julia. For
Yeah.
sure. She's intriguing to me.
Oh,
Yeah.
and this might be weird, but like shout out to the audiobook narrator as well. I wrote down her name because I don't listen to audiobooks that often, but she was just so
Yeah.
expressive in reading that. Cassandra Campbell.
Yeah,
I thought that was interesting.
look for other audiobooks that she's performed. You know, sometimes they do lots and lots of the same types of novels. She had that shrill when Julia discovers that he stayed home for 30 years to take care of his mother, and she's like, "What do you mean?" She had the shrill
Yeah.
voice like she was Julia, and it really very well performed.
Yeah.
The narration.
And I feel like it captures like the feeling of the book. Like I think at first we didn't realize this was a translation either.
Right.
Yeah.
Like translated from German, because it still like retains that kind of lyrical quality. So it's very interesting because we've read a couple other translated novels in our book club. And sometimes you wonder what you're losing.
Lost in translation for sure.
Are they a little more clunky or like? I mean,
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember
I feel like-
specifically, but I can't. I mean, I know there have been. I know there have been, but I can't.
yeah, I thought the writing was really like beautiful and sort of like you said, like lyrical kind of.
Music had a lot to do with the book. Music.
Yes.
He kept opera music on in the background all the time while he was writing, and I think he's interspersed a lot of things, music, like the children's choir, the children up in the monastery up in the like music. They talk about music throughout the book. It's very very lyrical and you just the.
And being able to draw on like some of his own experiences in like as a correspondent as well, because that's like a little snippet of his biography
Yeah.
is that he for a long time in the 90s he was a correspondent for I believe like the United States and then like all these Asian countries.
Yeah, he went to Burma a lot.
So
got to know the
he went
people
to
and
Burma.
just,
He got to know
Yeah.
the people. He got to know more like the different religions and like how heavily like this one feels seated in like Buddhism.
Yeah, just what a peaceful people they are.
Yeah.
Just accepting, life is, death is part of life, and then you just carry the person with you at all times, even though they're dead, they're part of you.
Yeah, which is something that I feel like to us, like as a Western audience, can feel very much like passivity
Right.
instead of acceptance. And it's like, well, why didn't you change these? Why did you accept this? But that's where you get that culture clash.
Did either of you sort of see the ending coming at all, or any of the little twists?
That he was her half brother? No, not
Oh, man.
at all.
Okay, but I was rereading the beginning of this book, and there is, I think I wrote it down. That'll be easier to find. There's a line he says, like as he's telling her about herself. Your family name is a part of my story, has been a part of my life since I was born. And that's
seen that.
Yeah, I didn't
and that's
catch
just
that.
on like page 5. That's chapter
Yeah.
1. And I'm like, I guess I just like glazed over it. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, whatever, small village,
Didn't even think twice.
No.
Wow, it's right there.
It's right there. Page 5.
Wow.
Just staring at you right in the beginning.
Funny. Yeah.
I did think when they said that he'd been caring for his ailing mother who needed assistance or whatever, I did think then, like, oh, he's her son. But for some reason, it didn't even cross my mind that he's also his Tinwin's son. I just thought that she had another son or something. Because I figured surely that would have come up sooner
Yeah.
that she had been pregnant. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of a mystery. And,
Yeah.
yeah, it just had so many elements.
Yeah, I'm sure if other listeners have read the book, they're screaming at us that they knew the whole time. They knew from page 5.
No one at the book. No one at our meeting last night.
No one had realized
No
it.
one. And there's
Yeah.
pretty savvy people in there. And no one saw it.
Yeah.
So
I guess I pictured him as so much older or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I can see that. Whereas, like, it felt like he should be her father's age.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's what I
'Cause
thought.
he keeps talking about, like, how old he is and how close he is to death.
Right.
Yeah. Well, they also say
yeah.
50 is all in Burma. 50,
Yeah.
50's
Yeah, that's...
He
does say his parents lived, like, extremely long for their standards.
Were there any other parts that stuck out? Any favorite parts that y'all had, or least favorite?
Anything dealing with Usaw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, he was terrible. He was just a horrible person. Oh, I mean, and I say that, but he did go after this little boy who was blind and arrange for him to have
Right.
he gave him,
Yeah.
he facilitated,
Does it
teen
matter that
babies.
his
It was
motivations
all
were
yeah.
purely
Yeah,
selfish?
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, because an astrologer told him.
Yeah.
He saw an astrologer.
Yeah, he was very...
He was, yeah.
He was
like,
very into astrology as well.
oh, and he had pagodas built, and he was going through all the things that you
And
need to do, but it was all self-serving to become more and more
Yeah.
successful. And,
Yeah. And even, like, helping Teen Ween was his, like, last-ditch
Right.
effort, because he was like, oh, well, can't I just, like, build a hospital or, like,
Yeah.
donate to a temple or something?
Yeah.
It's like, no, it has to be someone that you're actually related to. And then he's like, oh, I think I have this. I think I have relatives. I think I have this nephew,
Yeah. Yeah.
like, out in the sticks.
Where he owned their house, right?
The big house. There was the
They
big
didn't
house.
even live in the big house.
Not anymore. Yeah, yeah.
They lived in, like, a little hut, basically.
Cottage,
like,
yeah.
and took
in
care
front
of the big
and
house.
took
Yeah.
care of the big house.
That he never went
That
to.
he never went to. My God.
Yes.
Oh man.
Such an interesting time
Yeah.
when it was a British
Mm-hmm.
colony, and they built these fabulous places, and they became vacation homes, I guess, for the
Right.
gentry later on in life. It just sounds like
Yeah.
it's just such a beautiful and amazing place, but a hard life for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and how, like, talking about that, like, the part that the colonialism and then the war, like, does play
Oh, yeah.
in Burma.
Yeah.
It's like, because it shapes, well, it definitely shaped Usaw. He's following some of the beliefs, some of the more, like, superstitions, those sides of it. But he takes more of that influence from, like, these British generals. He has to have, like, as big a house or bigger than they have. And he definitely becomes more of a foil to, say, like, Mimi's family, who aren't at all aren't interested in
Don't need it. They've
don't
got
need
everything
that.
they need.
They're more family focused
Yep.
and more, like, kind because they want to be kind, not because they want karmic rewards from it.
Right.
He's
They are genuinely good
Yeah.
people, and he is deep down just a terrible, terrible person.
Yeah.
I wonder how he died. I have to go back and find that.
Yeah, I can't remember.
I think it was his wife.
His wife
his
died.
wife
from
died
snake.
from the snake.
The wife died from the snake. She called. Yeah, so that was the wife. But did he get struck by lightning on the golf course or something? I don't know. That would be great if that's what it was. I just may have made that up.
We'll have to go back and look.
Yeah, now I have to look.
Yeah.
All we know is, like, he got chased out of Rangoon for siding with the Japanese.
Yeah.
And then he had to hide in this house that he was never planning on living in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I guess he brought all of his papers, boxes of work. And then who went through all of that?
It was,
Su-
Uba says he got it from Suki.
Suki.
Yeah.
Suki got that. Yes, that's an important part. of the book. I don't know if we
yeah.
talked about that much, but
So
that was
if he
important.
hadn't like lost all his fortune in Rangoon and been forced back to this house, like he wouldn't have brought the letters. Suki wouldn't have found the letters. And all the very like butterfly effect, very very fate feeling. That led to a lot of the information that Uba knows, and like
yes,
a lot of the story beyond
exactly. What he
beyond
learned from
Teen Ween's recollections.
in the tea room, the tea room discussion. Yes,
Yeah, that was another big point in book club. Like, how long did he spend with Uba in the tea shop before going to see Mimi?
Oh, right. Yeah.
Because this, like, the retelling takes so long.
so long.
Which I think we find out it's not just Teen Ween's story. It's also
No.
Mimi's. It's also Suki's. It's also
Absolutely
really like the entire
the monk.
Oh, yeah.
Ume.
Yeah, I mean, he's got to try. You know,
Yeah, that was
is
the
a
one part
whole
that
tragedy.
started. I had to kind of rewind. I was like, whose backstory am I hearing?
Yeah,
now?
right, right.
It's just like when my mom tells me a story, and now we're hearing the whole life story of someone. But no, yeah, his story was very tragic, and you saw where he learned his lessons about love
Yes.
and
Yeah.
fear and whatnot. Was this a book that y'all would have read had it not been for the book club? You think? Like, is this in your normal kind of?
No,
I don't think so. I had never heard of
never
this
heard
one
of this
before.
author.
Yeah.
I ran in the library a little bit before book club started to see if there were other books by him on the shelf. We do have him in the system, but not
Right.
not on the shelf. Never heard of him, and I don't know how. Eileen had suggested. I have to say, I have to give Susan credit. She is such a fabulous curator of the books that are selected for our book club. We open it up for everyone to suggest what they think they might want to share or read again with the book
Yeah.
club. And
I think we had a
like
long list of like 50 titles.
50 titles, and Susan, we vote on them, and Susan, it's a big deal. But anyway, one of the, and I don't know how she knew about that. I don't know. So she bought the book. This is her book, Eileen's book. I don't know how she knew about it, but she's the one that had suggested. But yeah, I would never have picked it.
Yeah, it's definitely not.
I mean, it wasn't
something I normally would have read. It's very outside of my wheelhouse.
Yeah,
but
I
loved
don't know that it was ever a big deal in the United States, even after.
I'm not sure.
There was the translation, and it was throughout Europe, all over the world. But it did make a big splash here. I don't think at all.
But I think that's kind of the beautiful thing about book club too.
Yes,
It's like
discovering
so many books you wouldn't have thought of, you wouldn't have read. I know it's different for different book clubs. Like we tend to have a pretty good variety of genres throughout the year.
Yes, some good,
Some good.
some not. But something for everybody. So, but it's something that there's discussions. I will show up and like I hated the book. I didn't even finish it. I'm not afraid to say it when we're going around. I'm like, I'm not afraid. But I do like to learn why other people liked it. Like maybe they saw something in it that I didn't have the patience to work through or had no interest in, but it's interesting. And we have a very lively group.
Or maybe it did stay slow until the very end of the book.
Yeah.
Maybe you were right.
Last month's book was
Oh, yeah. Well, how does one go about joining the Madisonville Book Club?
Really, all you have to do is show up. We have our meetings typically the first Monday of every month.
no, second Monday of every month.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my gosh, I got him
Already
here.
Yeah, don't come on the first Monday. We have our meetings on the
second Monday.
We have our meetings on the second Monday of most months. I think some of the ones in the fall are going to fall a little differently just because of scheduling. But we always post them ahead of time. They're online.
Yes, which is great.
We have them on our little slideshow at the branch. But yeah, like even if you haven't read the book yet, if you just want to stop in, see what it's all about, I think we're one of like the few evening book clubs.
Right.
We meet between 6:30 and 7:30. So like if you want to stop by after work, just check us out. I normally have some snacks.
Yeah.
And,
Christmas, we all bring a little something for. We have a
little potluck.
light Christmas, light reading for. Well, no, it really wasn't light. It was short, but not light at all. Can't remember what it was last Christmas. But anyway, we do a little Christmas themed book in December, and then we, bring snacks and whatever, and have like a.
Yeah, and I will say,
It's nice.
if you are interested in like having a say, like recommending some books for book club, strange as it might sound, we started talking last night about 2027 book club.
July. She says, "Come next month with your suggestions." So I'm like, "Oh my God, I feel like we just voted on this year."
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
July,
because
but
you have to have them ready.
yeah.
You have to have them all ready for January. So we're going to be taking recommendations for book club July and August, and then we'll be making our giant list again. And
Which is
voting.
great in and of itself, because throughout the year, maybe things didn't make the cut, but then you have this vast list of books that are summarized. She's got a picture of the cover, the author,
Yeah, it's like maybe your favorite didn't make
Maybe,
the cut,
right,
but
but
now
now
you
got
have some other reads.
stuff to read all year long. So Susan works very hard at getting this. She's been great. It's been fun.
They really run it themselves.
Yeah.
I just give them a room and they
She
they
has
can
a list
talk
of
the whole
questions and we're
hour.
like, yeah, so we'll talk about it. What do you think? Yeah.
Well, I know we've barely scratched the surface, but did you have any final thoughts?
Did you
about
like the book?
Yeah, I loved it. I think I'd give it a 4 probably. Like I
good.
said, it's not something I'd normally read
Yeah.
at all, but
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. And I also listened to the audiobook, which was great.
Yeah, the audio really was one
Yeah.
of the best.
I guess, how long was the audiobook? About
Ooh.
8-ish hours, or was it like 12?
Like I think it was 8 or 9. It wasn't terribly long.
So he could have
And
told
it's
that
like-
in a tea shop over a couple days, right? If
We'll think about that. Oh. But yeah, because I think I read part of it, then I would listen to part of it.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's
So
what I
it's-
do.
yeah,
yeah.
it
Listen.
felt-
Then sometimes this particular book was such a calming book that I'm like falling asleep, and I set the timer so it'll
Yeah.
cut off after 30 minutes or 60 minutes, whatever, just in case I'm all. So then I get the book, the hardback, and then I read some more, and then go back. So kind of I like doing both. That way you're not missing anything.
Well, yeah. Any other last thoughts on the book?
I mean, I enjoyed this one. I think it's definitely, it feels different than a lot of books I've
Really
read.
different.
Like-
Really
Yeah.
different. Just you look, you see what is, you kind of like,
Yeah, it
okay,
doesn't-
maybe. But then you get into it and you're like, oh my God, so much more.
It doesn't
Then-
feel really like a romance. It doesn't feel,
No, it's not
Like,
cheesy.
yeah.
And like if it was a
doesn't
romance, I'd be
feel-
like, eh.
it doesn't feel like a memoir. It doesn't feel
Right.
like how I would think about maybe similar books.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I think it's worth a read.
I agree. Yeah. How do y'all normally wrap up your book club meetings?
That's a great question because I know like sometimes y'all are walking,
We're
or y'all are talking.
We're talking
walking down
about
the store.
it down the steps,
Stairs.
into the parking lot, sitting in the car. Or, but wait, another thing. Yeah.
But yeah, we the conversation reaches a lull eventually, and we're like, and it's like, I guess this is a good time. Anyone have any like last questions? But we tend to talk until we can't talk anymore.
Yeah.
I think is what happens.
Yeah, because it's like 7:30, 7:45, 8 o'clock. It's like, oh my God, I haven't had dinner yet.
It's like, all right, y'all, I gotta lock
go.
the
You gotta
room.
go. She has to kick us out. She has to kick us out.
Well, yeah, I'm sure we'll be talking about it and thinking of more stuff we wanted to say on our way out of here. But yeah, thanks for coming. That's it for our first Check It Out book club discussion. Thanks, Susan and Julie, for joining me, and to the Madisonville Book Club for reading along and helping us dig into the art of hearing heartbeats. So yeah, again, our next book will be Absolution by Alice McDermott. Make sure to stay tuned, and thanks for watching or for hearing us. And we'll see you next time on Check It Out.